red Terran. He is Bomber. And up to the top right, we have our blue Zerg. He is Jaedong. Alright, I'm sure a lot of people are sad to see one of these players go out in this round, but it has to happen. Otherwise, we'd just let everybody in the tournament and we'd have all the Koreans. Yay! We'd have lots. There's so many good ones. So many. Alright. I personally would love to have either Bomber or Jaedong there. But they've got to go through Curious first. A player that always seems to make it happen when it comes to the qualifiers for Intel Extreme Masters. He's a monster of the qualifiers. Like the past 3 or 4 now, he's done superbly well as Curious. So one of them's going to have a tough time ahead of them. As you can see here, Jaedong making sure that nothing too crazy is going on. An interesting barracks placement, actually, here for Bomber. This might fool Jaedong into a more defensive mindset if for some reason he doesn't go over to the left-hand side. And... oh, okay. So even the straight path from that ramp to that mineral line still sees it on the very edge of vision there for the drone. So it's not too tricky in the end. But aside from that, expansion is on the way here for Jaedong, and probably going to end up grabbing his spawning pool in just a little bit. Anything other than that would be crazy against Bomber here, who's looking to just go for barracks into command center. And Jaedong's discovered this. He sees no gases. He's content with the position that he's in against this kind of one barracks expansion. And unfortunately for him, he can't stick around and work on the SCV because the Marine is already out. So, spawning pool gets added on. And will we see a gas is the question. I mean, we could quite easily see another hatchery go down as long as he is very, very mindful of its positioning. If he goes down here, then Bomber is very unlikely to expect a third hatchery going down that quickly. But at the same time, you can't really make too much use of it as the Zerg. You always have to be careful of Bomber being very aggressive. And he's going to have out a lot of units very, very fast. Is Bomber with these triple barracks before gas. Well. We may see a reaction come out from Jaedong. If he's able to spot this a little bit quicker than he normally would, of a baneling nest a little bit quicker than he normally would. But for now, he's a little bit oblivious, as we have the gas also being added on here for Bomber. We could see a small timing come out of Bomber to really try and punish his opponent with a very, very strong set of Marines. And the Zerglings are going to slowly poke up, trying to check out what's going on. And, well, he sees the 2 Marines there at least. So can't really go much further. He sees 4 Marines now. And they do get those Zerglings in the end, which is a nice pickup there. So we'll deny frontal vision at these spots. Whilst we now have plenty of Marines piling on out. This tech lab's really the most important part of this build, because from here on out, could quite easily just go for stim and then pile out a ton of Marines very, very quickly, and then just go for the straight push. Now, he is already pushing down to this 3rd base, which has been spotted by Bomber, and the SCV has not been spotted either. So he's going to start a bunker on the edge of this, but this will soon be discovered if we see Jaedong slowly pushing the creep out in that direction. And there we go, he does see it now. So the problem is that reactions, he lures the Queens off creep for just a second there and tries to push in with the Marines, but that's a lot of Marines. There's a lot of Zerglings in production. Jaedong realizes that he hasn't quite reacted to this in time. And now, with this many Marines across here, he has to know that something a little bit weird is going on in terms of the build. It's not quite the normal of barracks into factory into starport. This is definitely a bit more difficult. He did cancel, but he also got the drone over on this right-hand side. And we have double evolution chambers going down as well. So those Lings, for now, are doing a good job of saying to these Marines, hey, you now have to go back. You can't really do any more damage, which Bomber is adhering to. We have the factory being added on here for Bomber as well. But the thing is that he has like 20 submarines out with Stim. It's a very, very brutal number of Marines here. The Zerglings are trying to actually catch some of these stragglers, and they do in the end. Bomber's just going to continue to play this out. He's got the double engineering bays, slowing down his opponent's third in the way he did. It was a very, very strong move. Because now, when this parade push eventually starts here for Bomber, the economy isn't going to be as strong for Jaedong. We're getting up to the 9-minute mark, and the third is still not up. Yes, it is 51 workers to 44 in favor of Jaedong, and Bomber's feeling a little bit worried. Adding on a second barracks to make sure that he's not going to get hit by something too crazy. Sorry, a second bunker to make sure he's not going to get hit by something too crazy. But for now, he is safe. Those Lings really caused him some troubles in his mind. But behind all of this, it's going to be 5 barracks off of 3 command centers. That third command center may end up flying pretty soon. Now, one thing that's not too bad about this map is if you fly over to this gold base and take it, which looks like Bomber is going to, then the parade push style that we see from Terrans here can, if he wants to go past the watchtower, also protect this base very, very nicely. It's a little bit... it's much harder to make some kind of parade style work if you're going to try and take down this base, because it's way out of the way. Ling run-bys will always cause you a headache and a half. But now Bomber is playing this out a little more slowly. Of course, he kind of has to, because his medevacs were delayed, as well as his 1-1 upgrades were slightly delayed compared to a normal standard play, in favor of delaying his opponent's third base. And Ling's actually run in and grab themselves a siege tank. That's a good trade there, and they even get out. Good stuff by Jaedong. And Bomber's even supply blocked here for a second. Not sure how that happened. Was that a supply depot that he started at the front and not a bunker? Anyway, whatever. No, it can't have been, because it didn't even finish, so that would have been weird. But anyway, the Lings are going to head on back. It's going to be a Ling Bane Muta once again here for Jaedong. But the Banelings, the Mutas are being committed to a little bit quicker than game number 1. So all of his gas, or the majority of his gas, is intensely focusing down that route, whilst Burrow just finished. And those 2 Banelings... Okay. Alright, I need to keep an eye on you. So, alright, Jaedong is now going to have to try and hold off against drop play on either side of the map. As can be a little bit annoying. It's already been spotted very easily by everything. And he will clean up those 2 Lings on the watchtower, but there's plenty of Lings there to be able to push through. This is actually quite an effective trade position for Bomber, because he's so choked up in that little location there, and he just misses those 2 Banelings on the left. So, Bomber will push this away. Well, sorry, Jaedong will push that away. Retreat back to the safety of his missile turret. Now, the way in which these 2 Banelings are placed, it's not like placed in the middle here or something like that. Just in general, the pathing of these Marines will oftentimes hug towards this wall as they go around. So it's a really cool little position. As 2 Marines for Bomber are just going to head on around and look to threaten with the drop down to the bottom right. Very isolated location, but at the same time, Jaedong has still been very, very strong about constantly spreading his creep through the middle of the map. Still more Banelings. I think maybe these ones could have been put back a little bit further. Oh, geez. Actually, it never stops. Okay, so yeah, a lot of banelings everywhere. Where are there any more that I haven't spotted just yet? I need to find them just in case it happens. Anyway, there is the drop down here to the south. That's an annoying position, because he can just ferry them up to the top, and Jaedong realizes that, so splits his forces up a little bit, and he just selected those two banelings there, but oh, he catches a few of them on the tail. And meanwhile drops a scan right next to this creep, realizing he has to clean it up. But now he knows that there are some banelings burrowed in other locations. These two are the next ones to be activated potentially, or even these ones. If he drops a scan here to clean things up, he's gonna get the creep tumors as well as those banelings. Did these mutalisks clean up this drop down to the south? I believe they may have done. But now Bomber is gonna continue on with the path he's chosen. He drops a scan, catches all of the banelings that were burrowed. Good choice, but at the same time, a big, wide counterattack on the left-hand side here. There was a lot of Marines in there, but look how many Lings actually just got evaporated under the firepower of those Widow Mines. And Siege Tanks on Widow Mines, meanwhile, here for Bomber, just pressing on forwards. Jaedong, I feel he might be in a little bit of trouble. This position for Bomber is absolutely phenomenal, but at the same time, he's doing a lot of damage to his opponent's economy line. So this could help him out. This could turn the tide if he's able to hold off, as the banelings get some great connections on a lot of the Marines at the front. Jaedong now takes a supply advantage. There's a few more banelings burrowed here during all of this. If this army gets forced back, there's a few more banelings there as well. He should be able to trigger them, and he gets them once again. Jaedong with the connections, Jaedong with absolutely phenomenal positioning, is able to push this huge force of Bomber back, with the Mutalist swinging in from the side as well. Habitation Station, what do you do to us? As he gets plenty of those medevacs on the retreat out there as well. Army supply is now 82 to 86, but behind this, 39 to 80 workers. The income here for Jaedong, vastly superior. There's still burrowed banelings lurking in wait. All right, 12 more banelings on the way to make this even harder for Bomber. Bomber's gonna have nightmares about this map one day, man. Habitation Station is not Bomber's friend. He's gonna clear up the rest of this creep. He's like, well, yeah, screw you, I'm just gonna go somewhere else and clean up. But this gold base has been shut down. This is gonna regulate so much of his economy. He does not have a fourth base. That was pretty much all he had in terms of really strong, powerful economy. And the Mutalists just fly straight on in. They have +2 weapons. They can do whatever they want. As these Marine and Bioforces do clean up the fourth base, but this trade, I just do not think is that effective for him. He burrows some banelings on the very edge of creep. Oh, those Widow Mines get some good shots off. 28 kills and 12 kills apiece. The Mutalisks still being oh so pesky. A lot of economy here for Jaedong. We see the push on forwards again, and the banelings should be able to shoo that away. But right now, army counts in favor. Oh, banelings! Oh, still gets even more! Oh god, and there's even more banelings! Oh, Bomber! Just give up. It's not worth it. There you go.